All right, today we're going to talk about the SportDog 425X camouflage collar. Now, I had to put Pete outside for this because he gets a little excited and he'll sit here and whine the whole time as soon as he sees this collar because he knows what it represents. That's because, unlike some people I've seen, I have learned to use these collars properly. If you use them right, they're a wonderful training aid. You'll notice in most of the hunting videos that Pete doesn't have this on. The reason for that is I only actually use this whenever I feel like it's a situation that my dog could be in danger. So for example, today we're going to actually try to go to a different spot. We've hunted like 8 or 9 days in a row in the same exact spot for training purposes. Now, fortunately, we're here in North Dakota right now, and there's so many ducks that for a one-man limit, it doesn't really matter where you go. But one of the places we're going today is going to be kind of closer to a road, and I just like to put this on Pete just in case. He actually stays really close to me usually, but just in case something distracted him and he wanted to run towards the road, and I just don't want him to get hurt. So I actually use this. I think I've only used the actual shock feature on this like maybe 1 or 2 times, just to kind of show him that once the tone goes, because he's doing something bad, it'll actually give him a correction. But I'm going to show you a little bit about like what I do and how I do it. Now the 425X, right? You can actually put it in 7 different modes. On this dial here, these are the actual settings. The VT is the actual, just a tone, right? Vibrator tone. I have it on the tone because whenever he hears it, it like snaps him out and he starts to think like, oh man, I'm about to get zapped. Now, for Pete and his size and everything else, I've only ever set this to like, I want to say 3, I think is as high as I've ever gone. And, you know, it didn't hurt him. He didn't, yap or anything. But, he instantly, like I saw the response that I wanted. And it was the exact situation I was talking about. We were actually on a farm in Pennsylvania. And he was, we had been dove hunting the cornfields. And he was, all of a sudden, he just decided, he's a puppy, he's a baby. He decided he wanted to run up the corn row that went the whole way to the road. And he was almost out near a busy road in Pennsylvania. So I called him. He seemed like he wasn't paying attention at all. I hit the tone. He didn't respond. And I just, gave him a little tap, and he instantly, it stopped him, and he turned around and looked at me. And I gave him the sign to come back, and he turned around and came right back, and that was it. So that's actually what I use this collar for. I don't use this like for something for, hey, every little thing he does, that's how we're going to correct it. I believe that you have to pay attention to your dog and teach them the right way. And you also have to understand whenever a dog is, a puppy like him, they just, they're like dealing with a kid, right? So anyways, back to the collar. You can set this to all different settings. So it has like modes 1 through 7, or you can just dial in 1 through 7. These are actually the intensity levels. To set the mode on it, that your manual will tell you what mode it comes with and what each mode does, and it just changes basically what these keys here do. There's 3 buttons. It changes what these keys do. If you have it on VT, it actually, every time you touch it, you get a tone. That's what I use, right? If you actually change it to here, the lowest setting for correction, this is the first setting, and then this is low, medium, high. So you basically get 21 areas of correction if you want them. I have actually put this on. I'll even show you. I actually tied this around my neck, and I have tried every one of them because I think Like, I would never do something to a dog that I haven't done to myself. So I actually came up with 3, which worked out perfect because I put this on myself and I tried low, medium, high on each mode. And then, you know, I actually did a little calculation on where I start to feel like, oh man, that's uncomfortable. And I basically divided Pete's weight by mine and came up with 3 low was really where I wanted to be. And when I used it, like I said, you could tell that it didn't hurt him. It just was something that got his attention and brought him back. And potentially, you know, these are things that could save their lives. I looked at a lot of other models, and I read a lot of reviews on other models. And so far, I have had this for 3 months. It's been wet many, many times. Because a lot of times where we do our training is in water areas that are near public parking lots. And I keep this on him for that. And that's part of the reason why Pete gets so excited when he sees this collar, because he knows we put this on, we're about to go do some training and it's going to be all about him, right? So it comes with this fancy little thing here. If you're not like me and you don't want to try it yourself, you can actually put this on like so. And then you can turn it to whatever setting you want to check it, and you'll actually see it glow. So you know that it's actually, you know, going through and they would be receiving a correction jolt, whatever you want to call it, you know. I mean, let's just say what it is. It's a freaking shock, which is why I think sometimes, you know, people use these and they can be very cruel. I don't think that people always knowingly want to be cruel with them, but you have to really check you have to check your own emotions. And just because a dog does something that upsets you doesn't mean that he deserves to be hurt, right? So when you turn the collar on, you actually hit this button and you'll see that the light turns off. Whenever you turn it back on, it beeps, and then this green light here will start flashing, telling you that the battery is good. I put this up so I can see it standing above him and know that the collar is working. You don't get a green light on here. This basically, if the collar is active, your remote's active. Whenever you go to charge it, it has 2 charging ports, and it comes with a charger where you just flip these little rubber things up, and it's a 2-prong charger, and you plug it in until the lights flash green. Very simple. Comes with a bunch of different prongs for different sized dogs. These are the lower prongs that I put on because Pete's just a little guy, right? I'll probably never have to change those. And I actually trimmed the collar down for him, and it gave him plenty of room for growth. So if you do need to, you know, if you trim it for a dog that then suddenly grows exponentially, or if you want to use this on another dog that's bigger or smaller, you can order these right off of the SportDog website, or sometimes you can just pick them up at Cabela's. But we'll actually go through. I'm going to show you, you know, I actually think that I made it clear up to 6 high before I was like, ooh, that's a bit uncomfortable. Whenever I put it on my neck, you know, I have titanium in my neck because I broke my neck years ago. And I've used those, the E-stems before. And to me, that's actually what this feels like, is the little electrical E-stems that they put on your, you know, on your back and stuff to loosen up your muscles. So it's kind of like, you know, putting it on is sort of like going to a chiropractor, you know. So I don't know, I might need to use this a little more often whenever my neck hurts. But we'll hit that video and I'll show you. All right, so here we go. Look, this is it's on VT, it's on the tone, and we're going to hit it, and you hear the tone, right? Then whenever you go to 1, we're going to hit level 1, 1, 2, 3. Feels just like a little E-stem, right? Level 3, or 2, 1. Whoops, I went the wrong way, I went back to the VT. Anyways, level 2, 1, 2, 3. Level 3, 1, 2, 3. Level 4, 1, 2, 3, and you can work your way the whole way up. I'm just going to go up to where I thought it was uncomfortable, which was level 6, just for the sake of timing on this video. So level 6, 1, 2, and 3. That doesn't feel too good, right? Especially whenever you consider where it's positioned on the dog too, right? If I put it on the back of my neck, where all my metal is, I can actually barely feel it because I don't have a lot of sensitivity back there. But I'm not even going to put it to level 7 because I think that's ridiculous. It's you know, like 6 is is uncomfortable for me. I want to say 3 low is the highest level I've ever used on Pete, and it was because I was actually really scared for him, and I needed to snap him out of that mindset of wanting to run towards the road. You know, he's a great dog. He loves people. He sees cars coming down the driveway, and he doesn't run in front of the cars, but he, like, you know, stands there because he's waiting for somebody to get him out and pet him, you know, to get out and pet him. So I just didn't want to take that risk. If I ever actually use this for a correction, like a minor correction on training, I would probably just use it on level 1 low, because even level 1 low, like, I can still feel it. I mean, it doesn't really, you know, it doesn't hurt at all. But he's a lot smaller than me, you know, so if I can feel it, I figure it probably, you know, it's probably going to be plenty for him. So think about that whenever you're using these. Like I said, I do actually believe that these are a wonderful training aid. And I think that they are definitely a wonderful safety aid for your dogs. I considered, whenever I purchased this, getting one that actually takes that has the GPS in it and everything else, but Pete is not that type of dog. Like, I've had dogs before that wanted to wander, like coon dogs, right? Like, that's their whole job, is to go wander. I wanted the GPS tracking collars on those dogs. On a water dog like Pete, a bird dog, I don't want him to be too rangy anyways. So like I said, you know, you could set this up many different ways. I mainly use it in the stock. This is mode 5 that I have it in, which gives you the most variation of levels. I could probably tweak this a little better to have vibrate instead of tone, but I just like the tone because I think it actually, like, he hears that, like, that beep. And with dogs, a lot of times, you know, like, if you watch a puppy misbehaving, if they get an audible distraction all of a sudden, it snaps them out of that mindset. So it's something to think about. You know, that's really what I think this is so good for, is less about the correction and more about the tone, just to kind of like, oh, hey, I'm doing something he doesn't like. So every time when I put this on him, and I was using the tone at first, when we did our training with this the first month that he had it, every time I had it on him, we went and we did training, and every time I said no, I actually hit the tone. So he understood that the tone means no. He knows what that means now. And he knows that when we put this on, we're going hunting or swimming or, you know, running around the trails. He's excited anytime we get in the truck and actually hit a dirt road, because he knows what that means too. But if I put this on him, it means that we're definitely going to go do that, but he doesn't realize that I'm putting this on him for his own safety. That's really what this is about. It's about his safety. It's about, you know, I have a lot of respect for dogs, and I don't like to harm a dog in any way. But I also don't want to see my dog killed by a car or severely injured. Pete, come. Sit. Good sit. I don't want to shake right now, but I know you want your collar, huh? This is super cool, isn't it? This is super cool. Now, when we put this on, I don't like to make it super tight, right? But tight enough that it's not flopping all around. So I still, because he's a puppy and he's growing, I still change the notches quite a bit. And yes, I know everybody's going to say, what am I'm sitting on a archery target. That's also my ottoman. You ready to go, brother? You ready to go get some ducks? Yeah! All right, let's hit the field.